All right, class, we're going to be working on our black belt material in this session today. And we're going to be doing some of our kicks, some work on the Bo versus Bo Kata, Bobo Kumite. And then also you'll be working on the Wansu Kata as well, and also some self-defense. So let's get started with a bow, give an attention position with focus and respect. Good. And getting your mind set and ready for the class. Just loosen up for a moment here by twisting, get your body loose. We're going to be doing some kicks, and so we need some flexibility in our body. We need to be loose, have our muscles stretched out a little bit. Good, stretch over to one side. That's it, and switch, stretch over to the other side. Good. Good. All right, hands in the back, lean back, stretching back. Good, and stretching forward. Relax your muscles as you stretch down. Breathe out. Good, legs out a little wider and stretch down. Hold it. Get that good stretch on your leg muscles. Stretch them down. That's it. Do a little bit more. Get some good stretch going on the legs. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit here. All right. Good. And bring it up. Now put one leg in front, one leg back, and lean forward. Stretch. And up. And switch the other way. Good stretch. And bring it up. All right, good. So we're going to start with the spinning hook kick. Most of you have done this one before, and you know how it goes. Let's just go over a few of the fundamentals. Now, when you start in a sparring stance, you're going to be pivoting your feet back first. That's always the start of your spinning hook kick. So feet turn back. Then your head turns and your hands turn, so you're all the way around the other way, looking in the other direction. Make sure your hands come around because you need a protection there in case your opponent had moved in on you. Now you pick up the leg that was in back and you do your spinning kick, hook kick, and pull it around through back to where you started. So the back leg is doing the kick, and you get your pivot of your body, spin around, and the back leg should end up back there again after the kick. So again, it's feet, head and hands, kick, and come through. All right, ready? Put a little more speed into it. And 1. That's it. Ready? 2. Good. And 3. It's an easy one to lose your balance. So take a moment in between. Don't get dizzy. Be prepared for the next one. Ready again? Go. Good, and go. Good. All right, switch legs. Same thing. Feet, head and hands, back leg, hook, and come through. Let it rotate around. Let your body get pulled around with the kick. Ready? Feet, head, hand, kick, and come through. Ready again? Go. Good, and take a moment in between, pause, get your balance back, and go. And one more time, go. All right, good. So I'd like you to pause the video for a moment and do each side again 3 to 5 more times to work on your spinning hook kick on both legs. A few more times. Remember, take some time in between. So pause the video now and do it. All right. Good. All right. Let's get back to it. Next thing we're going to work on is the Bobo Kumite Kata. And if you've been learning it in class, you're learning the different sections of it. And remember that there's an attacking position and a defensive position. When you're lined up facing your opponent, or actually back to front to back to your opponent, the person in back, if the other one's in front, Person in back is the attacker, the offense, and the other person is the defense. So we're going to take the attacking roll again. So we'll save the defense for a little bit, but let's start with the attacking roll. Always begin with the same formality. Yasume, Jutsuke, right? Bobo, Kumite, Hajime. And the back person is the one that calls it off. And then twist and back. And you do your down block and overhead strike, just like the beginning of the Bo Kata. Now, the first move is stepping in with the left and with the left hand striking to the ribs, straight across with a left arm strike, and then back to guard. Next attacks are the thrusting in strikes, where you go into the opponent in a crane stance and then a horse stance. So those are aiming to the center. Now we're going to do the low strike. You step in with a low reverse strike. So our left foot comes forward. We've got a low reverse strike. Right foot forward, low reverse or low side strike, and then head block. Next one, step in, side strike. This is similar to the first move. It's actually the exact same move as the first move in the kata. But now we follow it with another side strike to the ribs, and then head block. All right, next attacker move is a low high, or it's a reverse high strike, and then a high side strike, and then a down block. So that's where, after you do that second strike, wind up your bow and get ready to get that pivot and turn through for your down block. All right, next attack makes the opponent jump. So we do a swinging in low reverse strike, and we just slide in. We don't do a full step, just slide in, get a little closer, and low reverse strike. Now for safety, we don't go directly at their legs, keep it a little bit in front of them, but that opponent will still practice their jump at that point. Now here's the second part of that move. After the low reverse strike, come back the same way it came and go back to an overhead strike. If I was doing it at you, it would look like this: low, and now come back the same way and head strike. Now your opponent will block that one and do a kick on you, and usually use their heel to do a pushing away kick at that move. Next move for the attacker is to do another thrusting attack, and just moving forward in horse stance, just a forward thrusting attack. This is where the opponent does that switching grip move, which if you haven't done it yet, you'll learn how to do that. All right, the next set of attacks, the next two series, are what we call the short attacks. And it's called short because you're not taking a step forward to do the first move. You're just doing it basically with a small shuffle forward. So it's a short low strike. So you wind up for a low side strike and you just move in slightly. Now you step in for a reverse strike low and then step back and head block. Let's just do that one again. That's a short low strike. So you wind up, you slide in slightly, you step forward for a low reverse strike, but now you want to step back. Your opponent's going to be stepping in at you, so you want to step back to get your head block for that last move. All right, here's the next attack. Again, a short strike to the head, and then stepping in a reverse strike to the upper level, to the head again. Now the third move here, and this is the only time where there's three attacks, it comes down along your side and you come through the overhead strike. Your opponent will block that one, so you continue by stepping back with the defense and that rolling move of the bow, where the bow circles around. So let's do this one again. Short strike to the head, step in reverse strike to the head, and then overhead strike. And then go right back to the rolling move from there. So if it's coming towards you, the first strike is the short strike to the head, and then the reverse strike. Now bring it down along the left side of your body so you come overhead there. And as your opponent comes at you, you move back with those two circles and aim those circles of the bow directly straight ahead, not rolling it out to the sides here, but straight in front, and be in a guard facing your opponent again at that point. So those two moves, those two series are called the short series. Now the next move is the last move of the Bobo Kumite Kata, which is the attacker does a crane stance, stepping forward with a thrust to the head. The opponent does their block and strike back to you, and in that case, the person doing the offense gets it's the end of the kata, and they don't block that last move. So in essence, that last move is the only bow strike that really hits the opponent. For practice, of course, we never hit anybody, but it's close. So that's the attacking series, and let's just run through it one more time. And if you can, even if you don't have a partner, you do it with me, and just learn the attacking sequences. Okay, here we go. From the attention position. Hajime, Kitsuke, right? Hajime, Bobo Kumite. Hajime. Down block, overhead, and guard. Now the attacker will usually ki-eye, especially before the first move, to signal the other opponent that they're coming. So we ki-eye, right, and we step in, side strike, back to guard. Now crane stance in 1, 2, and strike, and back. Now reverse strike low, side strike low, headlock, and then back. Side strike in the middle, and that's straight in with your left hand, and then with your right hand, and then, then overhead strike from there. Right, so those are 2 side strikes, and then followed by your head block. Now, the next series, reverse strike to the head, side strike to the head, down block on that move. Back to guard every time. Always be ready watching your opponent. Sometimes you'll see the advanced black belts circle around in between each set, making it look like more of a real fight, adjusting their distance, getting their timing, and so on. When you're first learning it, going back and forth is fine. But once you know it better, you can make it more of a show, more of a representation of what a real fight would be like. All right, here's the next attack. We make the opponent jump with a sliding in low strike, and then come back the same way, overhead, and then back to guard. Next one, thrusting in, horse stance, and strike, and the opponent will do their block there. Now here come the 2 moves in the short series. Short low strike, reverse strike, and step back for your head block, and then guard. Now short high strike, reverse high strike, and bring it down and around for another overhead strike, and go back to 2 steps and circling the bow. Now, the last move, thrusting forward with a crane stance, thrusting to the head, the opponent blocks it, and then you would come back to attention, bow, and that would be the end of the kata. So that's the whole attacker sequence. So when you're learning it in class, or you get a chance to do it with a partner, you should feel comfortable with knowing at least the whole attacking sequence at this point. In the future, we're going to go into the bow versus sai attacks. So you really want to keep them separate. The bow sai kumite is a different kata. The order of the attacks and moves are different. So we'll get into that in the future. But for right now, keep working on that bobo kumite. All right, we're going to move on. Self-defense. My bow fell over. Self-defense against a punching attack will be something your instructor will cover with you in class, but there's many different ways, different blocks and attacks that you can do. Let's do the first one where it's a great basic and simple one, but very effective. If an opponent is punching at your head and you do your headlock against them, we're going to do 2 things at once. We're going to circle their arm around to hold them in place and do a palm strike to their face at the same time. So block, circle, and palm strike. So you've caught their arm under yours, you're holding them in tight. We're going to use that in a moment. Always be prepared in a self-defense encounter with your hands up. Don't have your hands in your pocket or behind your back or down low, because it takes a long time to go up there to do your block. So if you have any indication that somebody might be threatening you, coming at you, always have your hands up, eyes forward, 1 foot back, be in a prepared position. Right from here, that head block comes off quicker. Circle, palm strike. Now, take that hand that did the palm strike and we're going to change it to grab their shoulder. And as we grab that shoulder, we're going to step behind their leg and push them down as we do the foot sweep. Remember, to do a good foot sweep, you want to have two actions at once, pushing their shoulder off balance and also kicking their leg out at the same time. So I'm going to do it sideways here if you can see the leg action a bit better. Block, circle, palm strike, grab, catch behind their leg, and push them down and sweep the leg out at the same time. Don't just get them to one position and try to push. That won't work. It's better to push the shoulder and trip the leg. Those two moves should go together. So practice this a couple more times. Block, circle, palm strike, grab, and foot sweep to take them down. Once they're on the ground, you have a lot of options. If the opponent is still a threat, you've got your stomp kicks and your strikes if they're on the ground. Again, only in a serious situation. If that's enough to finish the fight and the opponent's not threatening you anymore after they're on the ground, now it's time for you to get away. And when somebody's on the ground, they'll definitely be less likely to want to continue the attack. So that's a good basic block, circle, strike, and foot sweep, a good defense against a punching attack to the head. If you have somebody at home you can practice it with, do it, but be careful. If you don't have a partner, use your imagination. That's what kata is anyway, right? Imagining fighting against different opponents and doing your moves for practice. All right, we're going to use that idea and go to a kata itself. And I want you to use this time to review one of your previous katas, your Wansu Kata, which you've done before, you probably know quite well. This is a kata you might have learned when you're a green belt or a blue belt, and now you're working on your higher things, but don't forget your lower material. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video again, and you're going to take the time to do your kata twice. To do Wansu Kata 2 times, don't worry about how fast you go through it, feel your moves, remember your pattern. The first time will kind of bring it back, and then the second time it'll look even better. So pause the video and 2 katas, and then turn it back on when you're done. Go ahead. All right. Did you do your 2 katas? Hey, it's important to review your lower katas. As a black belt, you know there's so much material to remember, and if you don't keep it all sharp, you'll forget things. So a class time doesn't give you enough practice on every kata. So you need to do them on your own, especially the ones that you're not doing in class. So let's take the time this week to make sure that you review Wansu Kata. If you didn't do it, pause the video now, get right back to it, do it 2 times. Go ahead. All right, that's the way to go. Getting in your practice on your own is the sign of a dedicated black belt. If you're only training 2 times a week in class, that's not really enough to continue to improve your skill. You might maintain the same level. Yeah, that's not good. Who wants to stay the same? Let's start bringing it up, right? Let's start improving. So getting in that practice on your own is great. Of course, review any other katas, weapons, anything else that you want to work on your own. All right, good lesson for today, and we'll see you back for more at the dojo on your next video lesson as well. All right, attention, and bow. Good, and keep training hard. I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work.